Well, let's just say things have been interesting. The rollout for the potential new Sims 4 expansion pack Adventure Awaits is getting even messier. There is yet another new leak, and this time we're getting promo screenshots that hint at gameplay like Archery and Imaginary Friends. This is the third leak for Adventure Awaits. Again, nothing is officially confirmed, but this of course should be treated as speculation. However, I have to admit this is looking more and more official, and I am going to emphasize again I do not think The Sims 4 should be putting out another expansion pack this soon. In fact, I think it is a terrible idea. Now, that aside, we will go ahead and look at what this could entail. We're going to go panel by panel, and I want to know your predictions and speculation. Even if you don't care at all about Sims 4 right now, which is totally valid, I still love to hear guesses because I just think it's fun. So let's start with this first panel right here. If I had to guess, this almost looks like a lodge of some sorts. It also looks like a mountainous region, and this is giving very much a park vibe if you watched my last video. This is what I am assuming would be a place to rent out and not typically hotels. Again though, they could do lodges or resorts, and as I did express on another social media platform, I even think Sims 4 would be okay with bed and breakfast. Personally speaking, I don't really want hotels. That aside, I don't know what else I can take from this first panel right here. Yes, we do see some creative sim items. I'm pretty neutral until I see more. They look fine. I wouldn't necessarily say the build buy items look terribly unique, but they also don't look bad either. So all in all, nothing really to write home about, but nothing terrible in that first panel. Now we're going to move on to the next panel. This next panel appears to be an indoor exercise room. This indoor exercise room, I actually would argue does fit in with the overall theme. This exercise room could be in a lodge of sorts. It could be inside of this if I had to guess. And we can see some indoor cycling machines, some actual weights, which is pretty funny because if you remember Sims 4 Love Struck, the promos actually showed them thinking about lifting weights, and here it looks like we actually can do it, so there's that. It also appears that there is a smoothie or a protein machine maker over here, and I do have some theories as to why this is drawing from a past pack survey, which came out quite a long time ago. All in all, these are good activities to have. I know people have been wanting more gym equipment, and I do welcome more gym equipment in general. But moving on to the last panel here, you can see a lot of children in this room. Obviously lots of clutter items, it looks like a new variety of bunk bed, and it looks like children maybe are making snacks. Is there a possibility we're getting a blaze stove or an easy bake oven, so to speak, for children's Sims? I think this is a possibility. Again, you might say, what does this have to do with the rest of the pack? And honestly, until I have the official materials, I'm not really sure. It does appear they are combining a lot of different themes into one, so it'll be interesting to see cohesively how this all comes together. There's also the fortune tower of sorts. I don't really remember what these are called, but this could be fun, and it would be interesting if you actually get some impact from these. Probably it's just going to be a mood buff, but fun nonetheless. Again, I don't really have anything really drastic to say. To me, this does seem to combine some aesthetics and also different concepts across a variety of different pack surveys. Add to the theory that this pack is going to offer a lot of different requests. Now, I will say, please be advised, when we're looking at the front cover, I did actually up the saturation and exposure because honestly, the screenshot was pretty dark. It does look like we're getting archery in for children's Sims. I'm not gonna lie, even though I'm against an expansion pack coming out right now, I will say there are some elements that are interesting me, and overall, I feel more interested initially in this pack than our last expansion pack. Now, we also do see a doll of sorts, and I think this could be the return of imaginary friends. If you play the third Sims game, you might be aware that there are imaginary friends. I know some people hate imaginary friends. Personally, I love them, but you can let me know what you think in the comments below. If we do have imaginary friends, I, unpopular opinion, still hope they can come to life as regular Sims. Of course, I do welcome some variations on this theme too. All in all, this is definitely shaping up to be pretty interesting, and it does change my theories and speculation just a little bit if we look at past surveys. Now, the self-care routines was for a stuff pack, but I could see them bringing some of this at least. Potentially the smoothie blender for protein smoothies. There even could be a healthy living aspiration or a fitness watch. Again, I'm not so sure they would actually do this, but this does fit into the general theme. And interestingly enough, this same survey has another feature feature that I think is coming with this expansion pack. This also includes an indoor cycling machine and a treadmill with screens. So at least we do see cycling machines, so potentially that is actually going to come with this expansion pack too. It's actually wild how much they use at past surveys and how much we can draw from them again. And finally, in my last survey, I mentioned the van life concept when you travel to national parks, and that still does seem a possibility. However, there's also the summer camp getaway, and this, with the children being included, does also seem to be a potential focus. As it reads, embark on life-changing adventures where children discover new hobbies for recreation and exploration. Create your own sleepaway camp with beaches, lakes, rivers, and pools. There's also supposedly lifeguards, camp counselors, and babysitters. Camp mythology, and discover new creatures, making lasting friendship. Again, we probably will not get all these features. I do have to say that usually they take bits and parts of different surveys and kind of combine them. That makes sense. So I would assume they could take parts of this pack survey along with the van life survey and make it into a bigger combination. Again, of course, this is just speculation for now, but I do love putting clues together. So let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. As always, I know I'm gonna get comments of, I don't play Sims 4, and that is totally fine, but I am asking about comments about the video in particular. As always, thanks so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.